I just read the joke, sorry. Hi everyone, welcome back to Crochet Rocks. Tracy here, and I slept really well last night, thank goodness, but I was trying to watch something on TV and I just couldn't keep my eyes open, so it finally caught up with me. And so I feel quite refreshed this morning. Now Gary's off, so if you can hear the noises in the bathroom, it's Gary, because I just heard him in there. And, you know, it can be a little off-putting sometimes when toilets flush. I shut the door, but it's such a small place that you can hear that across there. It's not that small. I'll always make it sound like I live in a shoebox, but it's not that small. It's just not large. It's large because it's all on one floor, but that's kind of all there is. You know what I mean? You kind of know what I mean. You see my Santa bag. This is my new addition that I'm going to be putting in Hobby Rocks, and I wanted to show you what they look like when they're made up and test how much they hold. So these are quite they're all 100-gram skeins, and 5 fitted in there nicely. Could have stuffed another one in, but it would have been really stuffed. So 5 100 grams. I'd say you could probably get about 10 50 grams, you know, maybe 12, I don't know. I'll have to test it a little bit more thoroughly, but there is space in here. It's just you could put a few accessories in as well. So I had some brainwaves on these, and I thought, I'm going to stand up, yeah. I thought what I could either do, well, I could do two things. I could do them pre-filled as just a Secret Santa, or I could do them where you can get the bag and then choose the 5 skeins you want. But when you're filling out the order form online, you've got your address and then you've got the address to ship to. So I just have to keep my wits about me if I'm sending them for you to someone else. When it comes to that, I can also put in a card saying that, you know, you've been sent this from so-and-so or sent this anonymously. So, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it. I had a Zoom meeting with Chris last night, which was really good. And I did, as I said I was going to do, make my little list. And we went through everything on there. So it got all sorted. And one thing that I wasn't really thinking about, I now have an AI. Check me out, right? I have an AI on my website. And when he said, oh, I've put an AI on, I said, it's not going to turn into Skynet and try and kill me or anything. And he said, only if you read the Sun newspaper, but in reality, no. But it really does help with some things. So he then showed me the AI that he's got. So I put it on my computer, just signed up. And it's quite amazing, really. I'm testing it out on a few things, see how it works. So, yeah, something else to play with, as if I haven't got enough. But yeah, it's actually not a bad little thing. If you are maybe stuck for words, or you can't, if I was trying to think of a good description for a new yarn, it really does help. So some things, obviously, you kind of know what to say. This hair just keeps going in front of my face, if you wonder why I keep flicking it. The joke then, let's do it, because it did make me chuckle, and it's actually a stroke of genius, to be honest with you. Genius, okay? It says, a couple of elderly men were venting their frustration about the woes of modern technology. I just can't ever seem to remember my damn password, grumbled one of them. The other one smiled, oh really? I can never forget mine. How do you manage that? Said the other guy curiously. Well, I simply set all my passwords to incorrect, so that whenever I'm told that my password is incorrect, I'll remember it. Isn't that great? You know, when you say, like, your password is incorrect. Oh, thanks. Little memory jogger. That's quite genius, really, isn't it? I can see everyone out there now turning their passwords to incorrect, just so that the computer will prompt you. It won't if it says your password's not correct. Then it'll really throw you, wouldn't it? but it might prompt you to remember that it's incorrect. It's actually quite cool. I like that joke. It's got the stroke of genius that I bet there's people who've done it. I'll just change it to incorrect password. Does it come up with incorrect password? Some, I guess, do. That is really annoying. It's just tickling my face. This is why I type back quite as much as I do. No, to be honest with you, I type back because I'm lazy. I am. I can't always be bothered to style it, you know. And sometimes when I wash it and I look at it, I think, that ain't too bad. I could actually... You wouldn't think, oh, your hair's awful today, if I just left it down. But the ends have a tendency to be dry and fuzzy on those. I could just do the ends, couldn't I? Bit of a cheek, but I could. But yeah, I don't tend to want to use heat styling on it all the time. But that and the fact that, who can be bothered really all the time? Yeah. I still haven't used the Dyson curly thing. I met somebody who had one and she said, I use mine all the time, it's amazing. And I thought, right, I'm going to do it. This time when I wash my hair, I'm going to do it. Did I? No. It's been about a month. So hers sits there on the side, ready to be used all the time. Mine's on the top shelf, hard to get out of place. Maybe that's the thing. I should put it there so it's easy to use. Easy to grab. I don't know. I just don't think I don't know. I don't think it'll work for me. It probably will, but I can see it getting tied back. I don't know. So I used to be good at getting the direction to pull it away from my face, but it's got so long now that it's dragging it down there. That's why. When it was only this length, it just sat, but now it's really getting quite long. I couldn't believe it when I actually straightened it, and I just kept going and going, and I thought, whoa, it's really good. Once it's straight, it really does look long. And even a few guys said, your hair's got really long. And I was quite surprised. I didn't think it'd get there again. I had it really long once. When I was young, it wouldn't grow past my bra strap. You know, it was about it, cut-off period, bra strap. But then it was curly, so if you pulled it out, it went a bit below. But after that was it. Never could grow it longer than that. And I don't know. I started kind of just growing it and straightening it and not thinking about it. And it actually got all the way down my back. First time ever. But then, because I wanted it to not have to use heat styling on it, I had this thing called chemical straightening. Not to be confused with a Brazilian blow dry. I guess it was just before all these Brazilian blow dry things came out. But it was this chemical straightening. Smelt like a perm, and it was awful. Absolutely. The person who did it, I think, must have been not really trained on it very well. And I was a guinea pig. But it killed my hair. And I felt like from about this point down, it was dry and horrible. So I had 8 inches cut off it. And so that was it. Never could grow it down again. It just never got there. And then, you know, cancer took it out of me. Various illnesses and stuff take it out of your hair, don't they? And, you know, and too much heat styling as well. Not good for it. So for the longest time, I kind of killed my hair a bit. All the dyeing didn't help. Lockdown hair. Remember the purple and the pink and everything else, and the red. I figured everyone's going to have dodgy lockdown hair. Well, I might as well. So all those dye-ins and yeah. Oh well. I don't know. I haven't got a scrunchie, so I can do this though. Hopefully that'll keep it at bay for a little while, because it's a brush. I use these vent brushes all the time for everything, even when I'm styling. I never use much else. I have got some paddle brushes. I use them occasionally for getting individual. I've got a tangle teaser, but the thing that I use mostly is vent brush. Years ago, you know, when you had blow dries. You remember the 80s? I used to blow dry with my vent brush. Do you know, actually, I was recommended a show, I think it's called Snowfall, on BBC iPlayer. And it obviously it's about drugs, but it's set in the 80s, you know, Nancy Reagan, just say no. All that, when so many drugs came into America at that time, and it was like a drugs epidemic. And I can remember them saying on the news, this isn't an American problem, because if it's there, it won't be long before it's here. And sure as eggs is eggs, as they say, we got the drugs epidemic way later. But the thing that I really like about it, and I was watching my second one last night, but I couldn't keep my eyes open. But the fashions, the music, the culture. So there's a couple of, obviously it's stereotypical, because back then this is what it was like. So you had a couple of black kids on the bus or wherever he went, dragging around this huge ghetto blaster. Do you remember those? So before we had Walkmans, people used to walk around with this gigantic stereo, basically, and be out there listening to their tunes, but inflicting their tunes on everybody else, because, you know, it's not got like headphones. At least Walkmans just meant that they were a danger to themselves, because they just didn't think about it when they crossed the road. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, things like that. And yeah, just the cars, the fashion, the music, and the times, you know. It's quite good to look back on it, really. Not the drugs, obviously. That's not the good thing. But yeah, so far I like it. I was told definitely watch the first 3 before you actually get quite hooked on it, which is quite an apt way of looking at it, considering it's about drugs. But yeah, I was hooked by the first one, really, for the nostalgia as well as the story, which is now developing and getting quite, as I do, more convoluted as time goes by. So that's my evening watch now when Gary's gone to bed, because I was running out of things. We tried watching Lionesses, that one where, you know, where they're kind of fighting terrorism. We got to episode 6. Gary said, don't want to watch this anymore. So that became something that I'd watch on my own, but I can't bring myself to watch it on my own. It's like, is this holding my attention enough to make me want to sit and watch it without Gary? And I haven't put it on at all since. And we're watching that Vikings Valhalla between us. So I needed something of an evening when he's gone to bed and I want to sit there. But the thing is, I don't think that's a show where you can sit and crochet to, because it's too, you know, there's too much going on. You've got to keep your wits about you. I need to chase up my Temu order. I haven't had any more kind of info from them saying any part of my order's on the way, and I've had 2 parcels. They are quite bad at communicating, but there's a lot of things outstanding and I've paid for this, so I'm going to get in touch with them and figure out, you know, where my order is, because part of it was something I need for when I package up my my orders from hobbyrocks.co.uk. If you haven't seen it already, there's a link at the bottom, and a voucher code valid until the end of December. It's weird thinking about Christmas and stuff already, but when I was talking to Chris, and I said to him, I want to do this thing for Christmas, and he went, thinking about Christmas already? I went, people have been doing Christmas projects since beginning of summer. I said, what you've got to remember is it takes a while to make them. And he went, oh yeah, I suppose it does. I said, suppose if you've got like a few people you're making for, then that's really time consuming. So yeah, people think about it very early on and start making it, especially if it's anything that's quite involved, like you're making somebody a cardigan and it's not a small one. That's gonna, especially if you're knitting, it's gonna take quite a while. So he said, yeah, it's quite, you do need to think about these things ahead of time anyway, but people do have to kind of fit them in around everything else, and they are time consuming sometimes to make. Anyway, not sure what else I'm going to do today. Gary's off. He is feeling a lot better, but I have to say he doesn't look it. He had 3 shifts in work, and he had gone back to work before, but it wasn't for a long stint like that. I say long because he works 10 hours. So that, and then he gets up at ridiculous o'clock and goes, and then comes home at about 4:30 or 4:20 he gets in, and it has a few hours of, enough kind of attention span to watch something, and then he's really flagging to go to bed. And where he's had that illness, I think it's really taken its toll, because he's following the low carb plan as not as, I would say at the beginning he wasn't quite as good as me, but he is now. And when I look at him, rather than feeling energised, I look and think, oh, his skin's looking a little grayer. He doesn't look well, So I need to kind of have maybe he's not eating enough. I think that probably is the problem, because, he didn't think about taking stuff to work at one point, so he was hungry at work. So I made sure he had a real hearty meal when he got home. But I don't feel like maybe it's because he's been ill and it's took its toll on him, and he's gone back to work full on, and it's just not I don't think it's done him any favours. There was a bit of a weird one, that illness. It really did zap him, Started off with a terrible cough on his chest as well. So once the chest was clear, but the spots would just never go, and he just doesn't seem to have shook it as easily as he shakes everything else. Gary doesn't, things don't linger with Gary. They do with me. So I'm so glad it wasn't me that actually caught it, and I didn't catch it off him. I did wonder how long's the incubation period, but I think I'm safe now, I think if I was going to get it, I'd have got it long ago. So, phew, thank goodness for that. I've probably forgot to tell you some bits and bobs. Especially as I had lots of yarn come in recently and did a few videos for that, and there's probably things I was going to tell you, from my Zoom, and I know there was something, because when I was sitting here yesterday, I should have told them about that, and I haven't. But more to-do lists, I think, are in order, don't you? Anyway, I'm going to get off, upload this. Later on, there'll be some winners videos for the giveaways for last week, that ended in the week, this week. Oh, you know what I mean. There's be some giveaway winners announced later. A few of them, I think, like maybe 1 or 2. But then tomorrow it's obviously new giveaway time. I feel really croaky. Didn't bring tea in. I have a drink, but it will taste weird because I've just brushed my teeth. I've got really into this stuff. This is amazing. It's pink lemonade, by a well-known brand that we all used to sit and have one at the side of us when we were ill. It used to come in an orange bottle with cellophane over it. Not anymore. But this is a 0 version. I'm not advertising them. They don't pay me. No, you know what I mean. It's Lucozade. I'm always advertising the Coke. I might as well let them have an advertise for free. Some people, I watched a video the other day, popped up on my feed, and it said this video contains product placement. And you think, there are some people out there that get paid to say that. And it wouldn't be me, that's for sure. I never get approached by, well, that's a lie. I do get approached by people to kind of look at their products, and they say things like, you can keep it, you can do this, that and the other. And I always read it and think, scam. I'm never, because there's so many scams now, I'm just not trusting. So I probably do pass up opportunities. But when I look into them, they're never things like crochet hooks that you'd expect, or some yarn, things you'd expect to link with my channel. the only one time it was a cross stitch thing, and I thought, well, that's, you know, at least I'm a crafter. But mostly they're things like a music player or something totally and utterly unrelated to my channel. So I just think, scam, you know, very untrusting. And I get bombarded with spam from my website. We can improve your SEO, we can do this, we can do that, we can rank you #1 on Google, we can, you know, yeah, delete, you know. And there was, when I was talking to Chris last night, it was showing me one of his other sites, and he has shown me this site periodically, because they say, for argument's sake, I say I'd quite like to have this, and he'll go, oh, I'll show you, these have this, and it will show me how it works for them. And some time ago, they'd paid a company to increase their ranking and their visibility and all that. So I said to him, did that work for them? And he said, yeah, I think it did to a certain extent. He said, it's hard to measure though, because, you know, they make lots of changes. You don't know which one of them's worked. But it actually did. And I thought, maybe I should get their name. You know, but I think, to be honest with you, I kind of do a lot of the things when I look into stuff and it says, we can do this for you, we can do that for you. I think I can do that myself. I like learning new things. And I was looking into something yesterday from this AI I'd never heard of. And that seems quite a good way of increasing your ranking. But I don't know. Sometimes I look at all this stuff and I just look and think, this is like another language and I'm lost. But yeah, just terminology and jargon, it's awful. It's everywhere, isn't it? In every job I've ever had, it's you remember your first few days at work and they keep bandying around abbreviations and jargon, and then you think, I'm never going to get this. And then after a while you're talking in abbreviations and jargon yourself. Anyway, I am going this time. I know I said I was going before, didn't I? I'm going to get off and upload this video anyway, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.